Hey guys, it's Christine, also known as IvyWinter. Thank you for joining me for another video. Today I'm going to talk a bit about my experience freelancing so far. So as some of you know, back in March I quit my full-time job as a social media engagement manager and decided to go freelance full-time. And since I've done that, I have learned a lot of things. I have failed and succeeded in things. It definitely is an experience that you can't fully understand until you actually do it, and I can tell you that it has been quite an experience. I can't believe I've been doing this for about 7 months now, and it feels like it really flew by, and it's definitely had its ups and downs. And so I just wanted to have an honest discussion about 5 things that I've learned from freelancing so far in the past 7 months that I think will help anyone else who's looking to freelance, whether it's full-time or part-time. I think this applies in like both ways. Before I even get directly into those like 5, freelancing is hard, you guys. It's not, you know, it sounds glamorous because it sounds like you have all the time in the world and you can do what you want, have your own clients and have your own schedule. And yes, that's true, but it's also hard to legitimately be successful at it. Like, you're always hustling, you're always trying to find new clients, you're always trying to make enough money, you're trying to sell yourself to people. It's hard. It has not been easy at all, and there have definitely been moments where I have even said, like, did I make the right decision doing this? You know, what are my goals? What am I trying to do? Am I going to be successful? Freelancing, just like being in a career, can cause a lot of doubt. I mean, sometimes you work a full-time job and you're wondering, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? Is this the right position for me to be in? Should I be making more money? Should I be in a higher position? Should I be doing something totally different? And I think freelancing is not any different. You know, you also ask yourself those questions of like, is this what I should be doing? Number 1 is organization is key. If you are not an organized person, you need to become an organized person. And if you don't know how to do that, then maybe freelancing is not for you. I mean, you need to organize every single day. Nobody's doing it for you. You're not coming in and being told what you need to do or being given deadlines. You have to set your own deadlines. You have to organize your work for the day. If you have multiple clients, you need to get that all organized. You need to really work on your own schedule and keep yourself to that schedule. There are definitely tools to help you do this. I've used online tools like Trello and Rike. They are free for single users to create like to-do lists and projects and all of that. So if you need something that's more digital, that can help. What I actually found helpful for me is something more physical. So I actually work through a passion planner. That's what they're called. I actually have my passion planner right here, and basically it's like a little journal slash schedule workbook that is everything from, you know, your actual months. This is a nice blank page. You know, you fill in your month as you need it, and you also answer questions about that past month, your own monthly review, kind of like a self-review. You know, what did I succeed in? What was the most memorable? What can I work harder on next month? Which I think is really important as a freelancer and an entrepreneur in general to, you know, assess those things and assess them pretty, you know, honestly. And then, you know, you create your weeks, and your week can look however you want it to look. And you have personal to-do lists and work to-do lists and a space that you can write literally anything you want. And you can fill out your schedule, you know, however you need to. You know, they have like this week's focus, good things that happen. So to remind yourself of the good things that are happening during the week if you feel a little frustrated. I really like the passion planner in general. It's really supposed to help you set your goal for the next 365 days. But again, you have to be someone who is going to stick with using it. Even I have had moments where I've dropped off a couple of weeks writing in it because I've been so busy. But I find when I do take the time to actually write everything down, it's just easier to visualize goals. It's easier to see what your day is gonna be like. What I like to personally do is the night before, you know, my next day, I like to plan my next day. I like to see what I have to get done and basically plan out my whole day so I know what time I need to wake up and get started, and when I can make videos, when I can take a lunch break, you know, all of that, because you do need to organize yourself. And on that note, I go right into number 2, which is you need to have discipline. Like, you need to be able to follow your schedule. It is very easy to say, well, I'm working from home now. I'm just gonna roll out of bed whenever, get work done whenever. That's nice if you're like getting paid a whole bunch for like one project. That might not take a lot of time, but to get there takes a lot of work. That work isn't just client work. Sometimes I am not that busy and that kind of sucks, but that's also a reality of it. You are not gonna step off into the freelancing world and suddenly have 40 hours a week. You will be very lucky on weeks you have 40 hours a week, because it's just really hard to get clients that are consistent when you freelance. And so if I am not just working on clients, then I am working on finding more work. That is part of your day, and granted you're not getting paid for it, but you will in the long run if you're taking the time to find clients, which is a whole other thing in itself that I can make a video about, is finding clients, and it's not always easy, but that's what you really need to do. You need to be disciplined. You need to work in not just your client work time, but your work for yourself and your brand and what you're gonna do to better your business. I mean, that's all kind of part of it. So you need to be disciplined. It's really easy to get distracted. If you're somebody who like will sit in a room with, I don't know, a TV or a video game console, and you know you're gonna go to that, then you need to get out of the house, or you need to have an office space, or you need to go find a, you know, coffee shop or a shared workspace to go work in, whatever it takes to keep you disciplined and focused. I know for me, I like to mix it up. Sometimes I just need to get out of the apartment because I do get into this very comfortable, complacent mood at times that can make it very easy to, I don't know, kind of dick around when I shouldn't, and then going, oh man, there goes 30 minutes of my time. So sometimes I do have to get myself out and, I don't know, to a Starbucks or anywhere else that I can just work and focus. Number 3 is you have to be a Jack or Jill of all trades. This is no longer working in a full-time environment where you do what you do and that's it, you know, like this is your skill set and that's what you do. Now you are your own accountant. You have to figure out all your lovely freelance taxes, and, you know, figure out with the money you're making, and am I making enough for rent and for bills and for everything else. You need to be your own salesperson when you are calling clients and either, you know, cold emailing them or having your first initial phone call with them. You need to be able to sell yourself and sell your skills. You need to be your own producer. You need to figure out what things are gonna cost and how things are gonna work and how this project is going to roll out. You need to be your own account person because you're working with these clients. Like, there's just a lot of things that you need to do that are going to push you outside of the box and outside of what your comfort zone is. And I know for me, pitching and selling has always been more of a weak point for me, but in the past 7 months I've started to learn how to do that and how to do it in a way that is comfortable for me. You don't have to suddenly become like a salesy person if that's not your personality, but you do need to be able to get across what you can do for a client and be able to convince them that spending X amount of money per hour or for the whole project is worth it for them. And it's definitely hard when that's not something you're used to, you know? If you work a full-time job and you're, say, a graphics designer, you probably just come in and here's what you need to work on today and you design something. You're not worrying about getting the work in the first place and necessarily being in constant contact with that client or whoever, you know, to make sure that they're happy. You're just kind of outputting what your skill set is. But when you freelance, you need to do everything, and it is a lot. It is a lot for one person, for sure. Number 4, and this is for if you're really going freelance full-time, you are trading a consistent paycheck for personal freedom. A lot of people say that, you know, you can freelance and make a lot of money, and this is totally true, but it's not gonna happen out the gate. If it happens in the first 6 months, it's gonna be amazing. It definitely takes a couple of years before you even get to that point, and you may never even get to that point. You hear all these stories about like freelancers and entrepreneurs who make 6 digits and, you know, all of that. That's not a promise. You know, you're taking this risk and you have no idea what's gonna happen. And you have to realize that when you leave your full-time job, you are gonna take a drastic pay cut, 100%. Unless you've already somehow worked out like having a business on the side that has been so successful that, you know, quitting doesn't really affect you financially. And if you have, I'm very jealous, but for the most part, you're going to take a pay cut, like a big pay cut. What you need to be sure of is that the money that you are making freelancing is enough for you to live your life, you know, have a roof over your head, eat, you know, all of that. But on the flip side, you get this personal freedom that I think is more valuable to me than pulling in a huge check every week, every 2 weeks. I am able to plan my wedding, for instance, in a way that, yes, I mean, it's stressful, but man, I would be 10 times more stressed if I was working full-time, possibly more than full-time, you know, having to put in extra hours, whatever it might be, and then trying to do that. But I can now schedule it into my day, or, you know, make sure my evenings are clear to handle it, and that's really great. And I can work my schedule out that if I do need a day off, like I'm going to Comic-Con this Thursday, and if I want that day off, I make sure I get as much work done as possible ahead of time, so that if I do have to take it off and tell my clients like, hey, I'm not gonna be around today, then it's all good because I've already planned for that to work like that. It's not about asking for a day off and taking time off and hoping your boss says yes and all of that stuff. It's also just like a personal freedom of like, I cut my commuting time. So now when I'm done with work, I'm done with work, and I can immediately go do whatever else it is that I want to do because there's no, you know, hour of commuting. You know, there's a lot of definite perks to having free time over having money, and money is nice and money is great, and you do need it to like live to a point, but it's not everything. And I think if you're one of those people who has started to realize that, then freelancing is a great way to go because you have your own personal freedom. And not just personal freedom in terms of time, but you have personal freedom in terms of what clients are you taking on. You're gonna take on the kind that you want, not clients that you're just forced to have that you don't necessarily like. You're gonna be able to do the kind of work you wanna do. Maybe there's one aspect of your skill set or your job that you love and another that you're not really into, and you can focus on that one aspect when you're freelancing. You can try to take on clients that want A more than they want B, and, you know, do the thing that you really love. So there's a lot of freedom in freelancing, but you're definitely going to not make that much money. And lastly, and something that was a little harder for me to learn, is just because you quit a full-time job and go freelance, it doesn't eliminate work burnout. Meaning, I still get burnt out. I still have days where I'm struggling to concentrate. I still have days where I'm just kind of tired of what I'm doing. It didn't suddenly fix that, because work is still work and it can still burn you out. And it's also a lot easier to burn yourself out because you might say like, well, I need more clients because I need to make a certain amount of money, and so I need to be busy, but now I'm working all hours of the day and I have so many clients and I can't keep on top of all of them, and oh, I just can't, I'm just so tired, or I'm just so burnt out from my schedule or from handling every part of freelancing. So like, don't think that it's going to eliminate that burnout. It's just going to be a little bit different. And when you do burn out, that's when you need to step back and assess what you're doing. Maybe you do need to give yourself an hour or two to yourself in the evenings and you're working a little bit too long. Maybe you took on too many clients and you need to actually be taking on clients that are gonna pay you more rather than taking on too many clients that are paying you less just to make ends meet. You know, whatever it is, you need to step back and you need to assess what's going on that's making you burnt out. But it's gonna happen. It happens to everyone, and it doesn't matter if you are a freelancer or not. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. It's definitely just as hard, if not harder, than working at a company full-time. So don't let that fool you. So those are some of the things that I have learned about freelancing full-time. If you have been thinking about freelancing full-time, if you have any questions for me about my experience, I would love to know in the comments below. If you like this video, then like it. If you like me, then you should subscribe. Generally, my channel is Disney related, but I do sometimes do more personal vlogs like this. So if that's what you want to hear, then let me know. The more you tell me in the comments below the kind of videos you want, the more I'll make them. So thanks so much for spending time with me as always, guys, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.